All right, in this video, we've got the DB Pro from Losi, and we're fully aware this one's been out a while, but this one's brand new, but it's a slider. So I was on eBay looking around. This one is really cool looking. I love this one. Laser nuts up on the top. That one's awesome as well. We did do some modifications to that one. And of course, the DB XLE 2.0 is sitting right on the first shelf down from the top. Those are both outstanding vehicles, in my opinion. This one should fit right into that paddock with those ones. Still, at the same time, in this video, we're going to go over what we got for our money, take a good look at it, make sure everything feels the way it should before we start putting parts in it. But one thing I just noticed about a minute ago is right here on the back, both of the rear shocks are leaking. So we do have a problem with the shock absorbers. Not sure what that is, but at the same time, in this video, we're going to pull those apart and we're going to see what the issue is and get that fixed before we start putting stuff into it. In the next video, we're going to put some components in it, get this thing up and functioning. The third video is going to be upgrades. And if you guys have any upgrades or anything you think we need to know about this RC, because this one's new to us, get in the comments and put your recommendations in there. We'll have a good look at them and see what we want to add to this one. At this point, I'm kind of unsure what I want to put in it, so your help is definitely something we're looking forward to. Still, at the same time, let's get into those shocks and see what the problem is. All right, now before we tear into the shock absorbers, which we know is an issue here, let's get down on the bench and have a look at the RC itself and see what $353 and change gets you. Now, keep in mind, an RTR version with the radio speed control motor and all the goods is $499. That's what it costs right now online. That's what we found out. This thing's been out a while, so you'd think you get a little better deal in it, but still at the same time, people buy these things so they can scalp all the electronics and stuff out of them, sell the car, and make a bit of a profit on it because it'll be cheaper that way. But for guys like me, that works out really good because I get to choose what I put into it and I don't have to take stuff out to build it. So that's kind of a balance point you'll have to figure out for yourself. At the same time, I really enjoy that. So let's get on the bench and see what 353 gets you. All right, so here it is, and it does look brand new. I mean, I don't see any kind of marks on it, no fingerprints. There isn't one single scratch on the chassis, so this is definitely a takeoff car. That is encouraging right there. So they basically just bought this to yank the guts out of it, which is cool. Let's have a look inside. The upside is I won't have to pull out any components to put my own stuff in it. So they did leave the servo in, so the servo's there, the center differential's in there, so that means the drivetrain's intact, and there's the battery restraint system. The front end looks good. I like the aluminum shocks and the shock tower. Same thing in the back. Problem is the lower A-arms are wet, so that's not a good thing for a brand new RC. But this thing is just cool looking. Check that out. Isn't that neat? Love that. Okay. So let's see what comes with it. So in the packet, we've got an extra pinion and the stuff that goes in it for mounting it. And then we've got the genuine packet here. And this one has a basic toolkit. There's another pinion there. And of course, it's got the manual behind it. And it looks like it might have some stickers there too. And this is sealed, so that's what came with it. All right, so this thing's been on the bench for maybe 2 minutes tops, and the bench has oils on it already, so the rear end is leaking pretty good, and I did have a little bit of a look at it. It's not coming out of the diff housing anywhere. It's coming off of the shocks and running down the arms, so it'll take a bit of cleanup. So let's get down on the bench and we'll pull them off and see what the problem is. All right, so let's get the wing off this first, get it out of the way because we need to access the back end. And there are the shocks right there. So there's 2 nuts on the top. Get those off. And then there's 2 screws at the bottom. Straightforward and simple. No problems. Just that easy. There we go. That one's nice and dry. Look at the condition of that. That one looks good. No issues there. Let's have a look at this one. Ooh, there's our problem. Initially, I thought it was both shocks. It turned out to be just this one. Look at the amount of oil on everything. Okay, so we've got the shocks off the back, and the one off the right, it is still good. It's full of fluid and it feels perfect as far as the setup for stock goes. So this one we're not going to mess with. That's just going to bring us up to the left side rear, which would be the driver's side if you're in a real vehicle. And this one definitely has issues, and it's almost gross touching it because it's so oily. But straight out of the box, it has a leak, and you can feel air bubbles in there, so it's definitely low. And that can happen, but I'm hoping it's not a damaged O-ring or something like that. If that's the case, I don't have any parts for this right now. We'll have to get them in. But let's get down and pull this thing apart and see how it's built and see what we can do about this leak. All right, so let's break this down. First, you want to grab it by the spring and pull down, and that allows this collar to come off right there. And the spring will pop right off like that. And most of these shocks are built like that. Let's test this to see how tight it is. You know, it doesn't feel that loose. It shouldn't be leaking. So let's get the fluid out of it. Notice I'm not using any tools. These are coming apart real easy, but there are rubber gaskets and things in there, so you can't just crank these down. There's a certain look at that. There's almost no oil left in it at all. That is not a good sign. Okay, so let's take the bottom loose. And of course, things look okay as far as that goes, but we're going to need to get this end piece off. So let's use this. That is a shock tool. And I just typed in RC shock tool into the search bar in eBay, and these things pop up all over the place. But they're super handy for anything round. It's just an excellent tool. Okay, so let's get this off and set it aside. This will allow us to take it all apart. So now we'll slide this retention ring off, and we need to get this out of here. A little stubborn here. We can get it. Almost. Come on, let's try it. There we go. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's in backwards. I can tell right now that that is in backwards. So let's keep taking this down to see if there's any other issues besides that. Everything's out on the table now. So that's looking pretty good there. All right, so I discovered the problem, and it was manufactured incorrectly at the plant, at the Losi manufacturing plant, or Horizon, or whoever is doing this. This little plastic bit, and I'll get you a close-up of this, is basically a washer with a collar on it, okay? And it has to face in towards the barrel. In other words, the washer would be up, the collar goes down inside this little slot, so when you put it in there, it sits like that. Now that means, and let me get a little tool here, and I'll show you how to build this, and I'll do this in a minute and show you a close-up of this, but the basic idea is this has to sit down in there, okay? So now it's flush. This is the O-ring that will sit right on top of it, okay? If you put that collar in upside down, the O-ring has to go over that collar. The problem is the O-ring needs to ride on the shaft to make a seal. So if that's in upside down, it defeats the O-ring and it leaks like crazy. And that's accurate. It leaks like crazy. That collar's in there to prevent the shaft from wearing when it goes in and out of the barrel. That's just what it's for. The O-ring needs to be separate from that. So don't forget, the collar's got to be down, the flange is flat, then the O-ring, then everything else goes on. So that's how it works. Let's get close on the bench and I'll build it for you. Okay, we're going to start with this, and that is the piston and the main shaft. And it does have that little spacer at the bottom. Make sure to put that back in place. We'll fish it through the shock. There we go. And this is the important bit. That collar needs to be facing towards the barrel. See there? It needs to go on that way, and then the O-ring. So you fish those in there like so, and they will push right into that little receiver spot. But look at the direction of it. Check out its orientation. They have to go that way. All right, just like that. Then we can put our keeper back on it. And it's just mashing that O-ring so snug will do. It doesn't have to be cranked down tight with a wrench. Just snug will do the job. And there you go. That was an easy build on the lower side. Now we're going to use the shock tool again, and we're going to put this end piece back on. There we go. Make sure and get it lined up straight when you start it. And we'll just go ahead and crank it down. There we go. Snug it up. Nice. Don't over tighten that either. There you have it. That should do the job. Okay, so now that we got this put together, I hope that was close enough for you to see so you knew exactly how that goes together. Now, the thing about it is, when it came out of the rig, and take a look at this, you could tell it was in backwards because in the actual manual, it shows you this, and you can see that it goes the other way around. And if I would have just tightened this up, it wouldn't have solved anything. Sometimes you just have to disassemble things to see how they go together. And those explodes that are in the manual are priceless when it comes to seeing how things go together. Now we have an issue that we got to deal with. I have one shock, just one. But there's two on the back. So that takes this one into account. This one, okay. Now, I looked in the manual, there's no definite number for what's in here, and you might know what it is, but I can't locate it. But here's my basic understanding of how this works. This one's full, this one's empty. I am not sure what's in this one, but I do know on the forums and what they're saying online is between 30 and 50 for the rears. Okay, 30 and 50. I can do that. I have 40 weight, so we're going to drain this one and we're going to fill them equally. Now, I may tune it later with different oils, but to start with, I'm going to go with middle ground on this. When you're not sure what's in this one, don't just fill this one. It can create problems in the long run because if you got a different fluid in this one than this one, it will handle really weird and you won't know what's going on. Always do them both. Okay, so we got to take the other one apart. Same thing, easy peasy. So we'll just get the spring and everything off. We need to drain the fluid out, so we're going to use the shock tool to hold it and just spin the top off. There we go. The cool thing about the shock tool is it won't mar the barrel. That's the nice thing. Don't, if you do use one of these, don't grab it by the threads. You always want to grab it on a smooth spot. So now to make sure that we get this all cleaned up, let's get any excess off of the upper edge. There we go. And we're going to use a vise here. So these goes down through the vise so I can reach them in the bottom and watch the oil. See the bubbles coming up? It's important that you cycle it after you get the first amount in there. So push up, pull back down, then top it off. Then before you put the cap on, push it up about halfway and then put that on there. It'll keep it from building extra pressure. There we go. We'll do the same thing on the other side. There we go. Get the bubbles out. Fill her back up. There we go. Push it halfway up and crank her down on there. Now we'll just get it snug and we'll tighten them up by hand. There we go. Good. Now we want to even these collars up so we have even pressure. Just take a second, make them the same. There we go. And pull the spring back, slide the collar up, put it in the notch, put the spring back on, done. Same thing for this one. Let's slow it down a little for you. There we go. Get it into that slot and set the spring over the collar, just like that. Perfect. Done. All right, so here they are, and these have 40 weight in them now, and they are ready to go back on the car. Now, it wouldn't have mattered what I did to this one. If I hadn't taken it apart, I never would have found the part in there backwards, and that would have been bad. So getting these evened out, so now we've got 40 weight in both of these, this should handle pretty good. It's like, say, it's in the middle ground between 30 and 50. It's a good starting point. Now let's get them back on the car. There we go. And we're just running them down snug with the power tool. That's just to speed things up a little bit. These are nylocks, so they do not require any kind of thread locker. There you go. And then we'll go ahead and get the bottoms in. And these were in the middle slot, so I'm putting them back in the middle slot. There we go. And then we'll just run them down snug. I'm not a fan of super torquing these things, just in plastic. Nice and snug. That's all we're looking for here. Always torque by hand. And we'll snap the wing back on. This is really convenient having the clips on the wing. I really like this idea. There we go. Nice. All right, so the shocks are repaired now and everything in the suspension is feeling pretty good, but we're not done yet. I still want to know what those center differentials are feeling like, and we're going to need tires for that. We just are. So these are the same tires we have on the laser nut. Love these. Problem, and real problem here, the store I got these from no longer is in business, and they got these in bulk, so I was able to get like $2.50 a wheel, $3 a tire. I bought 8 of each, so that allowed us to get enough for 2 cars. So we have them on the laser nut, and now we'll have them on the DB Pro until the real tires and wheels come in. Those are ordered, but they're not here yet. I want to test the diffs, so we're going to put these on there. Also, these are fun to run on there. It just is what it is. I wish I could tell you more on these. I really don't know, but this is what they look like, and this is what the wheel looks like, and it fits the DB Pro. If you can find them, awesome. These are cool. Let's get these on and see how the diffs feel. All right, so there it is with the wheels and tires on it. Look at this. Isn't that cool? They just look good on it. They give it a nice wide stance in the front, gives it some beef. Really nice, but I needed to get these on here so I could test the differentials, and that allows me to walk these back and forth and feel to see if there's any resistance in there, because I really don't want to pop these open unless I have to. Being brand new, I'm going to let this one sit this time, but I still need to feel this. Now this has resistance in it, which is good, because if you don't have enough oil in there, you won't feel any resistance. It'll basically run like an open diff. And the front is pretty much the same way, which is okay as well. So that's good. Now we need to get it on the bench here. Let's do it this way. And we'll get this down on the bench and we'll feel for the center differential. Now, keep in mind that I don't have a motor in here, so there's not going to be any brake for that. It'll spin freely, but you should still feel some pull and some push when you turn these, because that's the resistance in the center differential. And there is a little bit, and that's really encouraging. All right, so there you go. That's the inspection, and I'm happy with the way things went. We did have a bad shock absorber, but you know, at the end of the day, that kind of thing can happen. Whenever you build anything in bulk, you're gonna have 1 or 2 that are off. That's just the way things go. Can you imagine putting together shock absorbers by the hundreds every day and thinking you can get every single part in properly? It can't be done. It's one of those things to where every now and then you just have to fix something because it slipped through the cracks. I certainly wouldn't want to build that many of them in a day. Still, at the same time, the differentials feel good. I think I'm pretty happy with the whole idea here, so this is cool. In the next video, we're going to get this thing up and running. If you have any suggestions about how we should set this thing up, please feel free to get down in the comments below and share with us so we can share it with others along the way. For AJ Jam Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep wrenching.